It's a full circle moment for the Boston Red Sox as a legend of the organization's son was drafted by the team this week.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby, former ESPN social media associate, and also the current host of the Boston Balling podcast as well. And I am here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox, Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed. And the best part is it's entirely free. So you really have nothing to lose and might as well check it out because Locked On is your team every day. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code LockedOnMLB, all lowercase, for a first deposit match up to $100. Welcome to the show. We are halfway through All-Star Week, and what a week it has been. The Red Sox do return to action in a couple of days for a big series against the Dodgers, who have consistently been one of the best teams in baseball all season long. They have been struggling a little bit as of late, so the Red Sox might be getting them at a good time. The Red Sox have been playing very good baseball over the last couple months, but the question for me is now going to be, are they going to come back from the break and still play as well as they were before, or are they going to hit a little bit of a bump in the road because they lost a few days of playing? So you never really know how a team's going to look coming back from the break, but they've put themselves in a very good position heading out of the All-Star break, and Alex Cora did say that the team is aiming for that division title, not just a wild card spot, because they are only 4.5 games out of first place in the division right now. So they are focused on just continuing to win games and see what happens, because you really never know. And they have put themselves in a good spot to be able to give themselves a chance to win the division. But this week, with it being the All-Star break and some very exciting baseball being played, the Red Sox as an organization did turn their attention to the draft, and they drafted a lot of young studs that definitely have the potential to be very successful for this Red Sox team. Now, with the draft, keep in mind that it works differently from other sports in baseball in that you don't draft for need, you draft the best available player at the time, because there are so many levels to making it to the majors in baseball, and sometimes people forget that they don't need to be drafting for immediate need because these kids aren't going to make an impact at the major league level right away anyway. So you're drafting for organizational need overall, not major league need. It's not like football where these kids could get a chance to play right away. So when people talk about the draft and, the team going too heavy with one position, it's because they find that those are the best available talents at the time. And the Red Sox got some steals in this draft with who they drafted. And not all of these kids will sign. Sometimes the kids who get drafted out of high school end up foregoing the opportunity and going to college instead, and then they try to get drafted again out of college. So there's no guarantee they all will be in a Red Sox uniform, but the ones who get drafted pretty high usually tend to sign and start their professional career. So the Red Sox did pick 12th overall to start in round one, and they selected outfielder Braden Montgomery from Texas A&M. He's 21 years old. He slashed a .322 batting average with a .454 on base percentage and .733 slugging, with 27 homers and 85 RBIs in 67 games last season for the Aggies. 6'2", 220 pounds. He's a switch hitter who projects to be a corner outfielder in the pros. He did mention that he plans on continuing to be a switch hitter during his professional career. And that's going to put him above a lot of other talents his age, is his ability to hit from both sides. And that'll hopefully help him to work his way through the system quicker. He was ranked as MLB Pipeline's 8th best prospect in the draft, but fell to 12 when the Red Sox drafted. He has serious power and a strong arm. His plate discipline did take a step in the right direction last season, but that's something he'll look to improve at the pro level, is his swing and miss rate. So that's something that I'm going to be watching out for. And another thing to note about him is he broke his ankle during the College World Series this year, but he said on Sunday when he was drafted that he doesn't expect his injury to be a long-term issue, which is good. So it's not really something that we have to be super concerned about. He is still recovering from it, but the recovery process should be pretty smooth as long as all goes well, and he should be back on the field in a matter of time. So it's definitely somebody who I'm excited about. I think there's a lot of potential there with his ability level at the plate. And I just liked the way he conducted himself in his interview after he was drafted. He said that he just wants to be the best player on the field, and he's going to do whatever he can to be able to make it that way. So I'm excited to see what we're getting in him. Definitely more outfield talent that the Red Sox now have in the organization. It's a position that they are pretty deep in right now. So I'd be curious to see where he fits into the rotation down the road on this roster. But he definitely was a really good, strong pick for the Red Sox in the first round. Then in round 2, they had pick number 50, and they picked Peyton Tolle, a left-handed pitcher out of TCU. Another 21-year-old, posted a 7-4 record with a 3.21 ERA in 14 starts for the Horned Frogs last season. 6'6", 250 pounds, and tallied 125 strikeouts and 37 walks through 81.1 innings of work. So that's a good strikeout to walk ratio. He has good command of the strike zone, which is a good sign. And he was also named the Big 12 Conference Pitcher of the Year. So he stood out as one of the best pitchers, not only on his team, but also among the whole conference, which is also another very promising sign for his ability level in the professionals. He relies on deception with a fastball that hovers around 90 to 92 miles an hour right now and tops out at 96. If he can hit 96 right now, he will very much be able to work his way up quickly to eventually, hopefully, pitching for the Boston Red Sox on the major league roster. His arsenal does also include an average slider and changeup. So the fact that he has a couple more pitches, he needs to continue to develop those pitches, but having those right now in his back pocket is going to be very key for his success moving forward. Many experts project him to become a reliever if and when he eventually reaches the bigs. So if he has a 3-pitch arsenal as a reliever and he continues to grow those other 2 pitches that he has up his sleeve, he has the recipe for success as a very strong reliever for this Boston Red Sox team. So that's very exciting for down the road. Obviously, you never know. The future is not guaranteed. You don't know if somebody's going to make it to the major league level, but there's definitely a lot of promise for him, and I'm excited to see what he can do as he starts his professional career. Then in the 3rd round, with pick 86, the Red Sox picked another pitcher and right-handed pitcher Brandon Neely out of Florida. Another 21-year-old who had a career-high 5.13 ERA last season, but played a huge role in getting the Gators to the Final Four of the College World Series. From May 17th on of the season, he shined with only 6 earned runs in 28.2 innings. That's a 1.91 ERA, along with 44 strikeouts. He was primarily a closer throughout his collegiate career, but he has the potential to start at the pro level. So it's definitely very exciting that he has the flexibility of being either a reliever or a starter. Definitely turned around his season in the later half of it for the Gators. And I was actually talking to somebody who's a Florida baseball fan and said after he was drafted that he was his favorite pitcher for Florida. So the Red Sox are definitely getting a good hard worker in Neely, somebody who will not back down and isn't afraid of challenges and shows that he's able to overcome bumps in the road and adversity, which is going to be absolutely huge at the professional level. Coming up, I'm going to be going over the rest of the Red Sox draft picks in this class and reacting overall to what they're getting as a whole. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades. SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free TradeMaster program. Every TradeMaster gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/T-M and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. It's never a bad thing to have extra supplies, so you can keep yourself very organized by utilizing SupplyHouse. You can also utilize PrizePicks if you're looking for a fun way to play daily fantasy sports. PrizePicks is actually America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the PrizePicks community today. With the finals over, the hoops action doesn't stop on PrizePicks. Women's basketball is still heating up, with stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese looking to make names for themselves, alongside greats like Brianna Stewart and A'ja Wilson. You could win up to 100 times your cash watching them ball out. PrizePicks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. All you have to do is just download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. It's PrizePicks. It really is easy, and who doesn't love easy? So just check it out today so you can win lots of money. Also, check out Locked On Sports today as we have launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app to keep you up to date on all things going on in sports, no matter where you're at. So make sure that you check that out as well. In talking about the Boston Red Sox and where they're at this season, it's important to talk about the future too and some of the players who could make an impact down the road for this Red Sox team. Obviously, you have the big three in Marcelo Meyer, Kyle Teal, and Roman Anthony, who the Red Sox are very excited about as an organization, and they are working ahead now to build a team for when those guys get called up so they can have sustained success for years to come with those studs in the system. But looking even beyond that, the Red Sox have had their focus on the MLB draft over the last few days, and the draft has officially concluded now at this point, but there is lots to be excited about. Keep in mind that the MLB draft does not draft for need because these guys will take a while to work their way through the system anyway, to the point where they can be effective at the major league level. So they draft for best available at the time. In their first 3 picks, 2 of them were used on pitchers and 1 was used on an outfielder, all 3 of which have a lot of potential for this Boston Red Sox team. And it's very exciting to just see what their strengths are and see how they're going to be able to develop within this system. But they did pick in the rest of the rounds to, it should not be overshadowed the rest of the players that they picked. So I'm going to be just going over the other players who were drafted. In round 4 with pick 115, the Red Sox selected Zach Earhart, an outfielder from Oklahoma State. So another outfielder with a lot of versatility that I'm excited to see work his way through the Red Sox system. In round 5 with pick 148, they selected Brandon Clark, a left-handed pitcher out of State College of Florida, Manatee, Sarasota, which, to be honest with you, is a school I've never heard of before, but he definitely was able to really work on his arm development when he was in college, and the Red Sox obviously saw something in him that they can work with over the course of him being in the professional system. So I'm excited to see what they do with him. Round 6, pick 177, they selected Blake Aida, a right-handed pitcher out of Kennesaw State, before going to round 7, pick 207, when they picked Will Turner, an outfielder from South Alabama. So another pitcher and another outfielder that were selected. The Red Sox did seem to lean heavy into those two positions in this draft. In round 8 with pick 237, they picked Conrad Kaysen, a shortstop and right-handed pitcher out of Greater Atlanta Christian High School in Georgia. So this is an example of somebody who might not sign. He might choose to go to college instead. That does happen with some of these high school draftees, especially ones who aren't drafted in a very early round in the draft. So there's a chance that we don't see this kid sign with the organization and he just goes to college to continue working on his game and try to get drafted maybe a little bit higher up next time. Round 9, pick 267, they selected Hudson White, a catcher from Arkansas. Can never have too many catchers in the system. Obviously, Kyle Teel is the future as the Red Sox starting catcher, but down the road, he could serve as the backup catcher if he continues to develop in the way that the Red Sox are hoping these draft picks would. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on as he works his way through the system, is he could be the next man up after Kyle Teel in the system. In round 10 with pick 297, they picked Devin Futrell, a left-handed pitcher from Vanderbilt. So they definitely were leaning heavily into the college pitchers. The Red Sox system has known to have a lack of strong pitching for a while now, so it definitely makes sense to load up on the pitchers, especially with Craig Breslow being a pitcher guy. So he definitely recognizes pitching talent and wants to grab the best pitchers that he can. They also went with pitchers for majority of the later rounds. In round 11 with pick 327, they picked Steven Brooks, a right-handed pitcher from Cal Poly. Round 12, pick 357, and they selected Brady Tygart, a right-handed pitcher from Arkansas. Round 13, pick 387, they selected Shea Sprague, a left-handed pitcher from North Carolina. And in round 14 with pick 417, they picked Alex Bouchard, a right-handed pitcher from Lehigh. So the pitching continues for this Red Sox team. You can never have too much pitching in your system, and it's a good idea for the Red Sox to load up on guys who can contribute at the lower levels in the farm system and eventually hopefully work their way up. I'm sure we'll see some of these guys eventually at the major league level. Then in round 15 at pick 447, they selected Joey Gartrell, a right-handed pitcher from University of Portland, before selecting another pitcher in round 16 with pick 477, Griffin Killander, a right-handed pitcher from Wayne State University. So they definitely had a lot of mid-level rounds where they were just going pitcher, 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 until they broke that trend in round 17, pick 507, when they picked Jan Cruz, an outfielder from Academia Presbyteriana High School in Puerto Rico. Another high school draftee that may forego the opportunity right now and go to college instead and work to develop his game more and then maybe be drafted in an earlier round later on. So it is a possibility. Sometimes the high school kids do sign, but they do not always. So it'll be interesting to see what he decides there. In round 18 with pick 537, they selected Cole Tolbert, a right-handed pitcher from Ole Miss. So again, loading up on the pitching. And then in round 19, it's a bit of a special pick they made there with pick 567. They drafted D'Angelo Ortiz, a third baseman from Miami-Dade CC Kendall in Florida. Miami-Dade CC Kendall is community college. D'Angelo Ortiz is a special player to the Boston Red Sox in particular because he is actually the son of Big Papi. He grew up watching his dad become a champion and a legend in Boston, and now he has a shot to join the Red Sox himself, which is super cool. Between 2003 and 2016, David Ortiz just established himself as one of the best players in Boston Red Sox and MLB history. And then nearly a decade after he hung up his cleats, now his legacy in Beantown is set to live on through his son, which is super exciting. The younger Ortiz, who turned 20 years old earlier this month, just completed his freshman season at Miami-Dade College before he was drafted 567th overall. He's a 6'1", 190-pound infielder. He hit .328 with 1 home run, 38 RBIs, and an .805 OPS at the NJCAA level in 2024, finishing the season with more walks than strikeouts. He's currently spending the summer with the Brockton Rox of the Futures Collegiate League for the second time in 3 years. In 54 career appearances with the club, he is batting .325 with 42 RBIs, 8 stolen bases, a .777 OPS, and more walks than strikeouts. So he definitely has some upside and has been standing out among his team over this offseason. It remains to be seen if he signs with the Red Sox or not, who have $10.52 million in bonuses to spend on their top 10 picks. David Ortiz never heard his name called in the MLB Draft, instead signing with the Mariners as an amateur free agent out of the Dominican Republic in 1992. He then got traded to the Twins in 1996 and made his big league debut in 1997. After a few seasons in Minneapolis, the Twins eventually released him in 2002 before he came to the Red Sox that same offseason and immediately finished 5th in MVP voting for the American League in 2003. That started a streak of 5 consecutive top 5 finishes in AL MVP voting for Ortiz. He just has so much that he accomplished in Boston, like helping the Red Sox end their 86-year World Series drought in 2004, also helping them to win titles in 2007 and 2013. He racked up 2,472 hits, 541 home runs, 1,761 RBIs, 10 All-Star appearances, and 7 Silver Sluggers before it was all said and done, batting .286 with a .931 OPS and 55.3 WAR along the way. So all of that to say that his son has really incredibly tough shoes to fill, but it's cool that he was able to hear his son's name be drafted since he didn't get that opportunity himself. So it's definitely very exciting for him, and I'm rooting for his son to succeed and eventually be in a Boston Red Sox uniform, because what a cool full circle moment that would be. Then the Red Sox in round 20 at pick 597 selected Ben Hansen, a right-handed pitcher from BYU. So they definitely had a lot of pitchers that they went with in this draft class, but they had a good variety. They were just focusing on who the best available was at the time. And coming up, I'm going to be reacting to their draft overall and what I'm most looking forward to from these young studs. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit, only available to U.S. customers. I know nothing about cars, so believe me when I tell you that eBay Motors has been an absolute lifesaver for me, so they can be one for you too if you utilize them. Also, just a reminder to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or check it out on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app, as we have launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel where all of our experts here at Locked On will keep you updated on all things going on in the sports, no matter where you are. So make sure that you check that out today. The Boston Red Sox had a pretty fun and successful draft overall. It's always hard to know who will and will not pan out in the professional level. There's just so many different steps a player has to take in order to work their way up to the majors, starting with rookie ball for most of them and working their way through the system. And the timeline is different for everybody. Some players develop quicker than others and can work their way up quicker. Others need to take more time in the lower levels to continue to develop before they work their way up to being in a Boston Red Sox uniform. And in summary, when it comes to this Red Sox draft class and the players they picked, definitely very pitcher heavy, which I'm not surprised about because Craig Breslow is a pitching first guy. So that is what he tends to prioritize. So I'm not surprised at all that that is what came out of this draft. He is trying to rebuild this farm system and get some talent that they can really develop as an organization, and guys who they feel have a lot of potential to be able to go on and be stars at the major league level. And not all of these players are going to pan out. That's just how it goes. There are going to be guys who don't work out or they suffer an injury and can't play baseball anymore, which is very sad. But unfortunately, injuries are part of the game. Guys who are in high school right now and decided that they want to go to college instead of signing right now with the Red Sox. So these guys won't all be around in this Red Sox system, but the ones who are available and will be ready to start their professional career usually are the guys who are drafted earlier, just among the best players in the sport. And some of these guys dropped to lower than they should have been drafted. For example, Brandon Neely, their third round pick out of Florida, he was a pitcher who was expected to be drafted earlier. So the fact that he fell to the Red Sox was pretty remarkable, and that they were able to snag him. Definitely had a good college career and is somebody who just has a lot of versatility in terms of his ability of what he can do and mixing up his pitch arsenal. Now, the Red Sox as an organization, when looking at the farm system right now, have struggled to develop pitchers internally. And I'm hoping that with the emphasis on pitching now and Craig Breslow being here and the Red Sox really showing an active interest in wanting to grow their pitching in the farm system, I'm hoping some of these guys can develop under a better system and be more successful down the road to the point where they feel comfortable and they feel ready to go when they get to the major league level, because it's been tough to see Red Sox homegrown pitchers end up becoming busts or don't stay with the Red Sox and the Red Sox don't commit to them. And then there's not a lot of pitching depth in the system. So by having a lot of these pitchers lined up, even if they don't intend on all of them making it to the major league level, they're definitely good trade pieces down the road if they don't need all these pitchers in their system. And some of them are guys who they can utilize to be able to grow and develop, and then maybe they still don't end up all the way in the major league level, but they help the depth in the lower levels too, which is a big thing. And you look at some organizations like the Dodgers who have a lot of pitching in their system and they know how to develop their pitchers, and the Red Sox are striving to be that way too, an organization that they are going to have good pitching and reliable arms that they can utilize regularly to be able to win games and be able to have guys at the lower levels who can go out there and just shove on the mound. And so I think they've left themselves a lot of opportunity for that. Braden Montgomery, the guy they made at pick number 12, the guy they selected at pick number 12, he is also somebody who I am very excited about with the fact that he was expected to have maybe gone top 10 and he fell back to the Red Sox, that was almost like he fell in their lap and they had to take the opportunity to take him. Definitely a hard worker, a stud, a kid who I think will give it his all every single day and do whatever is necessary to be able to succeed in the Red Sox organization. So I'm excited for him and to see what he can do. Overall, I think it was a good draft for this Red Sox team. Their goal was to load up on pitchers. It was evident and apparent that that's what they needed. That was the biggest glaring hole in the farm system, was their pitching. And so these guys who do come into the organization and start at the lower levels hopefully can contribute off the bat so that the Red Sox know that they are making good selections when it comes to their draft picks and good judgment on the type of players that they bring into this organization. So I'm excited to see the potential of some of these rising superstars, and it will be cool to look back on this once some of these players make it to the majors and just remember when they got drafted. And I'm going to feel that same way about guys like Marcelo Meyer, who's been in this Red Sox organization for a few seasons now, and we've been anticipating his arrival in the majors, and it's coming. And I'll just remember the moment he was drafted by the Boston Red Sox, and it was very exciting because people thought he was going to be drafted a lot earlier than he ended up being drafted. So it's always cool when players like that fall into your lap, you feel like, and you get the opportunity to get players who really will stay locked in. And I'm interested in also seeing the mentality of David Ortiz's son, whether he ends up making it at the major league level. D'Angelo Ortiz, is he somebody who is going to be like his dad and really become the face of the Boston Red Sox for years to come after the fact? Just really incredibly tough shoes to fill. But I'm sure he's excited to be playing for an organization that his dad put his heart and soul into for so long. And his primary motivator is going to be to live up to the standard that his dad set. So I'm really anxious to see his performances when he comes into the organization. And I feel like with the special attachment that the Ortiz family has to Boston, he probably is honored to be playing for this organization and to be able to eventually put on that uniform. So he was a late pick, so it's hard to really know if he's going to be somebody who will pan out at the major league level. There are guys who were late draft picks that do work out. The circumstances have to be right, and the system has to be right, and it has to be a situation in which they need you in your position at the time when you're ready to be called up in order for you to get your opportunity. So I'm hoping there's a path for him upward in this Red Sox system, and he can eventually make it to the major league level and play in a Boston Red Sox uniform, because it would just be so cool and rewarding for his dad to be able to see that. So lots of exciting storylines with this draft class, but primarily pitcher heavy. Definitely drafted some good outfield talent as well. And I'm interested in seeing which of these guys sign, which of these guys pan out and are able to work their way through the system rather quickly and get to the point where they can make an impact at the major league level. This is the future, everybody, the future of the Boston Red Sox. So get excited about it, because the Red Sox future definitely is looking very bright. As always, though, keep the faith, go Red Sox, and I will catch you on the flip side.